All right, man, I got a great idea for Halloween. We're going to turn you into a mummy.
Nice, so we're just gonna wrap myself up in toilet paper.
And we're going to remove your eyes and brains.
Is that gonna hurt?
I'll be fine.
Welcome back to the Out of Touch podcast. I'm Chris, that's Bill, and today we are watching The Mummy from 2017, directed by Alex Kurtzman, starring Tom Cruise.
I watched the one from the 30s starring Boris Karloff.
Uh-oh. Okay, redo. Today we're watching The Mummy from 1999, directed by Stephen Sommers, starring Brendan Fraser. So, Bill, what did you think of The Mummy?
It's the best Indiana Jones movie released in the 90s.
Yeah, I guess it is.
I mean, it's in the same vein as Indiana Jones. That swashbuckling, adventure tone with fantasy elements.
Yeah. As a child, I love this movie. As an adult, I still love this movie, but that beginning is like, whoa, PS2 was awesome.
Oh, come on.
I mean, it was a little bit, like, better than that, but, like, those visual effects kind of are, like, they were good at the time. And to be honest, they're still good, but, like...
Some of it's good.
It is, like, dated.
Yeah, there is dated CGI in this movie.
Especially, like, you know, you're seeing all, like, the Egypt backdrops and stuff, and you're like, whoa.
Thing is, some of that might actually... In that first shot, there might be models in there, I'm not sure.
Okay.
Definitely a lot of CGI there, obviously.
Yeah.
Because, well, yeah.
Yeah, this movie's pretty great, you know. How do we go about doing this one?
Once upon a time, there was a priest named Imhotep, and he liked the wrong girl, and it bit him in the ass in a big, bad way.
Sure did. Yeah. But...
Loosely adapted from the old movie from the 30s, because it's also about Imhotep, and backstory is similar. We have someone who wasn't mummified, so this title is actually a lie. He's not a mummy.
No.
He's just undead.
Yeah, he went through some, like, process that...
They cut his tongue out, they cursed him so that he couldn't die, and then they sealed him in a coffin with those bugs that were just basically just eating him.
Scarabs.
Yeah, they were just eating him for hundreds of years.
Yeah. It's kind of weird, though, because when they talk about it, they're like, we sealed him, and then if he ever gets released, he'll be more powerful than ever. It's like, why did you do that then?
That's a mistake. I hate you so much. I'm going to lock you away forever, but if you should get out, you'll be an unstoppable force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, I guess it's like eternal suffering, but hey, if you live and get out somehow, you'll be like super powerful and be able to control sand and stuff.
Yeah, still.
It's a weird move.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the thought is, it's like, well, look, by the time he gets out, we'll be dead.
Yeah.
So the hell with everybody else.
They'll probably have like some sort of like anti-mummy technology by then.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. But
just so long as they can find the right book.
Yeah.
And not the wrong book.
Sure. There are two books.
Yeah, the Book of the Dead.
And
whatever the other
book.
The good book. The gold book.
Book of Life. Book of Ra. Book of Horus.
Book of Love.
Something like that. But, you know, the movie follows the main character, Rick O'Connell, which is kind of like a little ambiguous at exactly what he is, because it's like, at the beginning of the movie, you're like, okay, is he like a mercenary? Because he's like fighting in like some sort of like conflict with like Libya and stuff. But then it's like, okay, I guess he's like a treasure hunter too, but it's kind of like, what are you, Rick O'Connell? Are you a mercenary? You have a lot of weapons. I guess you're a mercenary.
He certainly fulfills that role in the movie. Yeah, I don't know. I guess it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's kind of like missing a scene, which is like, what were you doing in the desert? It doesn't matter.
It's like he said something about like his platoon that he was with. I'm like, what platoon? Were you in the army? What's going on?
Yeah, it's like you're like the only American in like this like army of Egyptian people. So mercenary? That's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah, it's a bit odd.
Yeah. But
also, I didn't remember there being like that scene happening, and then just 3 years later.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, okay. I thought like weeks, months, but years. That kind of that threw me for a second. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Shit. Okay.
We meet him in the prison. He's all like scruffy looking. He's got like long hair and stuff.
Apparently, he's only been there for like a day because, well, I guess he was he went for a hooker.
Yep. Well, got the other main character. I always forget if she has a last name, but
I'm sure they do. I just
Yeah.
know her, I just remember her as Evie.
yeah, Evie
And
and
her
her brother Jonathan.
Yeah.
You know, Evie's like British scientist lady, or I guess archaeologist.
Yes.
Yeah, and she works for like a museum, but they're trying to find this lost city, which
Well, her brother steals this mysterious box, which happens to have a map, and it's a
Yeah.
key as well, from Rick O'Connell at a bar the night before. He lies and says, oh, I found it digging around, but he stole
Yeah.
it from Rick O'Connell. Since the map gets accidentally burnt, we later find out it wasn't an
Yeah.
accident. So they have to seek him out to see, like, can you bring us to where this was? And he's like, yeah, I guess. If you can keep me from getting killed.
pretty much. I like the beginning when you meet him in the prison, and like the brother is just like, I've never met him in his life, and O'Connell just punches him in the face immediately, steals a kiss from Evie, but then like they hire him, gets all cleaned up. It's like, oh look, he's actually handsome now.
She's all like, oh my goodness, 1999 Brendan Fraser.
Yeah. But it's a great adventure movie.
Oh, yeah.
There's like so many fun characters. We've got like that slimy guy who is constantly like, super sniveling Benny,
Yeah.
who he's just like such a schemer. Like he like abandons O'Connell at the beginning of the movie, and then he's got his one moment in the movie where like the jump forward Emotep is like about to kill him, and he just takes out like every religious like pendant.
He prays to everything.
Yeah. Until he finally like says like something in Hebrew, and
He has
he's
like
like
the Star of David in his hand.
Emotep's like the language of slaves. Oh, you can serve me. Like, but he's kind of a fun character that you like to hate.
Who you know will eventually get his horrific comeuppance.
Yeah, he gets thrown off the boat like really big in the movie.
Yeah, because he's leading a group of Americans back to that city.
Yeah, this movie has like all like the classic adventure tropes, but the characters in this movie really make it. Like they're all like so good.
I do kind of like that the rival group of like I don't know, archaeologists is the wrong word. Treasure hunters.
Yeah, they're treasure hunters.
They're not bad guys.
No.
They're just
They're like competitive.
yes. It's not like Belloc in Indiana Jones where he's gonna try to kill them.
Yeah, they're not like
They're not siding with Nazis and stuff like that.
Yeah, they don't have like a bunch of like guys with guns with them.
I mean, they do, but they're not gonna kill them.
Yeah.
They're like normal people.
Yeah, pretty much. Normal for like the 1920s. That's one thing about this movie. I forgot it takes place like in the 20s. I don't know why. I thought it took place in like the 1800s, but
Nope, there's a car.
yeah. As soon as I saw that car, I was like, oh yeah. And the time card that said 1921. I was just like, oh yeah. But yeah, there's great moments in this movie. Like I love when like, they find like Emotep and it's just like a gooey mummy, and they describe him as like, this one's still juicy. Like,
How is that possible?
yeah. Plus like, some of the moments where like when Emotep like first shows up and he's like attacking like Evie, and like he like roars and everything, and Brendan Fraser, when he first sees him, he's like, ah, and then like he roars at him and he just like screams at him and just shoots him.
And he's like, it's okay, I got him.
Yeah.
I got him. It's fine, I got him. And there's another group,
The Secret Society or
the,
whatever.
the descendants of Pharaoh's bodyguards,
Yeah.
led by, what is his name, Ardeth? 30?
I never can remember that
I
character's
can't remember his name, but he's cool. I like him.
Yeah.
And they're just like,
You have unleashed a creature that we have feared for more than 3,000 years.
Relax, I got him.
No mortal weapon can kill this creature.
it's a monster, you idiot.
I do like how O'Connell's like, no, I got him. It's fine.
Fine. I shot him with my gun.
Yeah. It's pretty horrifying that like Emotep, in order to regenerate the people that opened his tomb, he needs to like absorb their like souls in order to fully regenerate.
Jeez, in the case of that one guy, he took his tongue and his eyes.
Yeah, jeez.
Which also made me realize, until maybe he got fully regenerated, Emotep was like,
Maybe. I don't know. He had magic sand powers, so.
I'm just saying, he took the worst eyes he could have from that group.
Oh my god, he did. That would have been hilarious if, like, he needed to put on glasses.
It would have been kind of, like, darkly hilarious if he kind of had, like, a fumble, so he had to just rip the eyes out from the next guy and switch him.
Oh, man.
And then be like, okay, good.
Yeah.
Better.
You feel bad for those guys because they do have, like, unnecessarily, like, gruesome deaths.
I mean,
and they're not even, like, bad.
No, yeah, I really feel bad for the glasses guy because first he gets his eyes and his tongue ripped out.
Yeah.
And then he gets, like, cornered and by himself and, like, surprise attacked, basically.
Yeah.
Like, that guy got it the worst.
Definitely.
The others, they mostly died quickly.
Yeah. Yeah, like the
No, except for the one guy who got, like, ripped apart by the zombie horde for a second.
Oh, yeah, right.
And then he got his life force range. I forget. There's so many random characters are like, oh, no, they're dead. Oh,
Yeah.
no, they're dead.
There definitely is a lot of that. Like, there's the guy that drives the plane later on in the movie, Winston.
Well, they basically set him up to die.
I mean, yeah.
The guy came in and was like, I'm looking for a glorious death.
Yeah.
And then he died. And he had a freaking big old smile on his face.
Yeah. It's interesting. He, like, talks about, like, the Great War and everything. And you're like, oh, yeah, World War I happened. And you never think of, like, plane combat in World War I. You always think of that as, like, a World War II thing. But
that's where the Red Baron and stuff.
I know. But, you know, it's like earlier. That war was, like, 100 years ago. World War II was, like, 80 years ago.
I know, but they didn't have the Red Baron.
I guess so. But, yeah, Winston's pretty fun for, like, the moment he shows up and then immediately dies.
Well, no. He has a scene that establishes him, and then they go back to him, like, 10 minutes later, and then he dies.
Yeah.
Good 45 seconds of screen time right there.
Yeah. Pretty good. But there's a lot of fun moments, like how Imhotep is afraid of cats because they're the, you know, denizens of the underworld. There's, like, the part where, like, Brendan Fraser has, like, the cat in his face at one point.
Yeah. Look at I got it.
The cat hisses at him.
He just screams and runs.
Yeah.
Probably the most famous bit from the movie is the giant face in the sand.
Yeah. Yeah, it kind of reminds me of, like, Andros from Star Fox 64 a little bit. I mean, that game was pretty hot at this time, too. So, it's like, oh, man.
And I think they did the sand face again in the sequel.
They did.
Did they do a giant sand face in that Tom Cruise one?
I have no idea. I briefly read a synopsis of the Tom Cruise one, and, like, I don't remember anything. Except, like, the main character, I think, is also, like, a mercenary.
He becomes the mummy?
I guess.
Or gets mummy powers?
Yeah.
Does he? I don't know.
I know it's not Imhotep. Maybe it's a Nox Son of Moon instead.
Well, there's a lady mummy.
Yeah,
in that
that's why I was like, maybe they flipped it. Maybe it's a Nox Son of Moon.
I don't know. I mean, one of these days they'll probably, if they do another mummy movie, maybe they'll dust off the other, because like the Boris Karloff mummy movie had Imhotep, and then there was a bunch of other mummy movies, and one with Abbott and Costello that had a mummy called Clarice.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's just a different mummy.
Interesting. Yeah, but you know, this movie's cool though. You know, the effects are a little dated, but
yeah,
I always like the part, and it's a really gross part. But like when he's like almost like mostly regenerated, but he still has like the hole in his mouth, and like the scarab goes into his mouth, and he just eats it.
Gross.
It's like, why'd he do that?
They do a lot of like creepy things with the bugs that sometimes don't play as creepy as they used to because the effects are a little dated, like the bug going into that one guy and it's like crawling under his skin.
Yeah. As a kid, I was like, oh my god, can bugs do that?
I hope not. I mean, maybe.
Yeah. I'm like Egypt. I mean, are those scarab things real? Okay, note to self: don't go to Egypt.
Don't go to South America. Giant spiders.
That's true.
Like really giant spiders.
I know. Same thing with Australia. Everything evolved to kill humans in Australia. It's like everything's venomous. What do you mean everything's venomous? I mean everything's venomous, like including koalas.
And then of course they don't have deer, they have kangaroos, which means they could punch you.
That's true. They'll challenge you to a boxing match anytime, anywhere.
It's like where we live. You hit a deer, the deer either scamper off or die. You hit a kangaroo, that kangaroo's looking for a fight.
That's true. We at least have bears sometimes. But, yeah. It definitely is like, man, those jacked kangaroos. But, yeah, this movie spawned a trilogy of movies, although, like, it's like the first two were pretty close to each other, and then, like, the third one came out, like, years later.
Yeah, and I remember there was, like, a point in time where it's like the Mummy trilogy, and the box set would be The Mummy Returns, and The Scorpion King.
The Scorpion King, which has, like, 5 movies.
Possibly more, I don't know.
That was, like, their new, like, hit character, the Scorpion King.
And then they just banished him to the well of straight-to-video Universal movies.
Yeah. It's weird, too, because, like, maybe eventually we'll talk about the sequel, but it's kind of like, I forgot how Hemotep actually comes back, because he's kind of, like, definitively, like, gone in this one. His soul gets stolen by, like, a chariot or whatever, and then he goes into the...
Hey, dude, he was dead.
Yeah.
And he died again.
I guess...
It's fine.
But his body, though, like, he regenerated
He fell in goo!
Body. I guess so.
He fell in goo. It's fine. His body can regenerate from goo.
I guess so.
Look, I don't remember it, but I'm sure it's fine.
If one cell of him survives, he can regenerate.
It's like that old South Park joke. It's like,
you're dead. I killed you.
Yeah, you killed me. So, where was I gonna go? Detroit?
what would you expect to happen?
Yeah.
This movie's a lot of fun. It's really enjoyable. It's interesting. It was a character that it's perceived as like a horror monster, but then they're like, yeah, let's put it in the tone of an adventure movie.
Yeah.
And then Universal kind of tried to duplicate that with Van Helsing.
Yeah.
To less than success.
I still like Van Helsing.
Yeah, I enjoyed that movie too, but it didn't.
Oh, it didn't perform. Yeah.
It didn't click.
Yeah.
You know? This movie clicked. People like Brendan Fraser. They liked his chemistry with the lady that played Evie.
Yeah.
They liked the fun, the action. There's some scares sprinkled through. It's got something for everybody.
Yeah, like you said, it was like the '90s Indiana Jones movie.
Yeah, because we didn't get one.
Yeah.
This is what we got. It's the closest we got.
Yeah, and Rick O'Connell, kind of like a Indiana Jones, more like Nathan Drake in some ways. I'm like a lot like Nathan Drake. I'm like, I wonder if Nathan Drake was inspired by him a little bit, but.
I mean, he's more of the, like, he's less like Indiana Jones because he doesn't come with he comes with, like, the adventuring skills, but not, like, the archaeological know-how.
Yeah, he doesn't have the knowledge.
Yeah, he's more like more of like a Han Solo, where he's like the
dashing rogue.
Yes, he's a dashing rogue.
Yeah.
That's exactly what he is. Because Evie, she's the one that comes with the know-how
exactly.
and the knowledge.
Yeah.
And the ability to speak dead languages and understand them and read them.
Yeah. She caused all the problems. She read from the Book of the Dead.
She really did. Don't read from the Book of the Dead.
Yeah.
If Ash and the Evil Dead have taught us anything, is you do not read from a book called the Book of the Dead.
If you find a book that's ancient, it's all black, and it needs a key to open, you don't open that book.
No. If it's made from human flesh, you definitely don't open that book.
Yeah, I guess any books that have, like, mouths or eyes on it, those are just, like... You probably should just get rid of them or, just donate them to your local library, I guess.
If a book comes with an ancient prophecy of doom, don't open that book.
Yeah. Man. Book comes in a box with the word Congo written in blood.
If someone went out of their way to hide the book, buried it deep underground, set up traps, erase the knowledge and location of the city that it was in from history, there's probably a reason.
Yeah. Yeah, curses are no joke.
Well, I mean, it's all just bullcrap anyway.
I mean, yeah, but...
I mean, what killed the guys that opened up King Tut's tomb? Because a bunch of them did die.
Yeah, I've heard that. And I heard, like, in real life, when they open some of these things, like, it is actually, there's, like, air pressure in them that, they actually do, like, kind of, like, pop out, and possibly, they breathe in some, like, funky bacteria or stuff like that.
That's the general consensus among people that aren't crazy.
Yeah.
It did obviously inspire some fun stories. It's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
You messed with the dead and the dead messed back.
Yeah, it's like the mummy's curse was actually like, just like, yeah, you breathed in some like 3,000-year-old air.
There's some fungus in that, and it's in your lungs, and yeah, you're dead.
Yeah, got a disease from 3,000 years ago that your body's like, what the fuck is this?
Ah! It's just set your insides on fire and you bled out the eyes and died.
Yeah. Curse of the Mummy once again was science. But it is kind of interesting that they actually do like pop open like that. Like,
yeah, I wouldn't want to be on hand with prying open freaking a coffin or something and be like, yeah, you guys do that. I'm gonna stand all the way over there.
yeah, I who knows? I don't think they like really have too many other things to find, and I'm sure if they do find something, they're probably wearing like breathers and stuff now.
Oh yeah,
They're like,
definitely.
they know what to do.
It's one of those things where like, the stuff, if their stuff is there, it's buried deep.
Yeah,
Like the sands of the desert erase everything.
exactly. But
Especially in like the Sahara and like that part of Africa, like that, who knows what's there? There could be so much there. We don't know.
there's tons of stuff there, you know. But yeah, this movie's great. I would say
I highly recommend
Yeah.
it. It's a lot of fun. I was just like laughing and enjoying myself while I was watching this last night. I was just like, I hadn't watched it in like a really long time, but I
Yeah.
knew there was a reason why I bought a copy to own. Because I'm like, no, these movies are good. At least the first two were fun.
Yeah.
I didn't really care for the third one, but
I don't think I've ever seen the complete one of the third one, honestly.
I don't remember much other than they introduced us. The son gets introduced in the second one, but they introduced like an older version of him.
Yeah.
Clearly with the intent of him taking over the franchise from Brendan Fraser, but it's one of those things where it's just like, Brendan Fraser, good actor, very charismatic, loves to say fuck in the show Doom Patrol.
What the fuck?
But they're plank of wood. They got a plank of wood to play the son, and I don't know, they fought a statue that looked like Jet Li, and then King Ghidorah showed up.
Yeah, I gotta watch that third one.
Also, I think they were Yetis.
Yeah. It's kind of weird, but, I remember watching the first two in theaters. And then, like...
These were rentals for me. I
Yeah.
never saw any of them in theaters.
And then, like, the third one just kind of came, like, way later. That It was, like, kind of like, wait, there's a Mummy 3 now? When did that happen?
Just now.
Yeah.
Go see it. Oh, you didn't.
Yeah. Like, in fact, I think it was, like,
And now Brendan Fraser can't even do these kind of movies anymore. He got too
Yeah.
broken by them physically. But he's bounced back. He's doing great. Won himself an Oscar.
Yeah.
Good for him.
He's good. But,
We'll never get to see him play Firefly and Batgirl.
oh, yeah. Yeah, that movie was banished.
It was locked away in a coffin with a curse. If they ever release Batgirl, it'll become a plague upon humanity.
That's gonna be like the new Ruins. It's gonna be like in like the future, and it'll be like the lost city of like Hollywood, and then like the Warner Brothers temple.
The vault of Warner Brothers,
Yeah,
right next to the vault of Disney, with all those other mysterious things in there.
indeed.
Willow, the hell is that? I don't know. Discard it. Okay. Ugh.
But yeah, The Mummy is a great movie. You should go watch it.
Absolutely.
And I guess that's Out of Touch podcast for this week.
Take your glasses off.
No.
Look what I got.